Hey there, movie lovers. Welcome back to The Reel. Today, we're sharing 8 nearly forgotten films from 1995. An absolutely banner year for cinema, 95 gifted the world with big budget dramas like Apollo 13 and Braveheart, a comedy classic in Clueless, timeless thrillers in Seven and The Usual Suspects, and an absolute game changer with the release of Toy Story. But we've scoured through our VHS tapes and cardboard case DVDs for some of the forgotten cool films from the mid-90s. So get ready for some serious nostalgia, and let's dive in. Number 8. Tales from the Crypt, Demon Knight. Directed by Ernest R. Dickerson, this charming horror flick eventually made it to the silver screen in 95, after languishing in development hell since the late 80s. Despite middling reviews and box office receipts, Demon Knight is a heck of a ride, thanks in large part to Billy Zane. The story follows a group of strangers, played by a bevy of recognizable 90s actors, including CCH Pounder, Jada Pinkett Smith, Charles Fleischer, Dick Miller, Thomas Hayden Church, and William Sadler, who seek refuge in a remote hotel during a storm. They soon find themselves fighting for the fate of humanity against the charismatic Zane and his army of gross demons. Despite not being originally written specifically as a Tales from the Crypt property, Demon Knight manages to capture the horror, hilarity, and titillation that made the original HBO series so darn watchable. Number 7. Screamers. Directed by Christian Duguay, this nearly forgotten science fiction film stars Peter Weller and Jennifer Rubin. Set in the year 2078, the story follows a group of soldiers who are sent to investigate a remote mining facility on the distant planet Sirius 6b. However, they discover that the facility has been overrun with the deadly sentient weapons called Screamers. The screenplay was written by Dan O'Bannon, the writer of Alien and Total Recall, and is based on a short story by science fiction author Philip K. Dick. Screamers may be hard to find, but it's totally worth hunting down for its thrilling action sequences and its exploration of the dangers of advancing technology. Number 6. A Goofy Movie. Directed by Kevin Lima, this animated movie features the voices of Bill Farmer and Jason Marsden. An absolute dud on its arrival in cinemas, A Goofy Movie was a hit in the rental and home video market, and has found a lot of love in recent years. The film follows Goofy and his son Max on a road trip across the country. Along the way, they encounter several challenges that test their relationship. A Goofy Movie was the first feature film based on the Disney television series Goof Troop. It's a rare find in terms of Disney films, as it explores the relationship between a father and his teenage son, but still features top-notch animation and incredibly catchy songs. Easily found on Disney+, A Goofy Movie is worth seeking out for a first-time viewing or a long overdue rewatch. Number 5. Devil in a Blue Dress. Directed by Carl Franklin, this crime thriller stars Denzel Washington and Jennifer Beals. The story is set in 1948 and follows Easy Rawlins, a World War II veteran who was hired to find a missing woman. The film is based on the novel of the same name by Walter Mosley, and was intended to be the first in a series, but Devil in a Blue Dress failed to break even at the box office, grossing only $21 million. That being said, the film has a 92% score on Rotten Tomatoes, and is worth watching for its captivating storyline and the standout performance by Denzel Washington. Number 4. Strange Days. Directed by Catherine Bigelow, this science fiction film stars Ralph Fiennes, Angela Bassett, and Juliette Lewis. Set in the year 1999, Strange Days follows a former cop who deals in illegal virtual reality recordings. His world is turned upside down when he becomes embroiled in a conspiracy involving a murder captured on one of his tapes. Co-written by James Cameron, this film drew inspiration from both cyberpunk novels and the civil unrest in Los Angeles in the 90s to create a dark, believable near future. Strange Days has recently been celebrating a resurgence in popularity and is worth watching for its thought-provoking storyline, strong character relationships, and stunning cinematography. Number 3. Crimson Tide. Directed by Tony Scott and starring Denzel Washington and Gene Hackman, this action thriller takes place on a nuclear submarine during a political crisis. The crew receives orders to launch their missiles, but when the authenticity of the orders is called into question, a battle of wills erupts between the captain and his executive officer. Both Washington and Hackman are immensely watchable and are supported by a cavalcade of character actors, including Viggo Mortensen, Steve Zahn, and James Gandolfini, working with a solid script that received punch-ups from none other than Quentin Tarantino. A stalwart entry into submarine cinema, standing alongside classics like Das Boot and The Hunt for Red October, viewers in search of tense undersea action won't be disappointed with Crimson Tide. Number 2. The City of Lost Children. Directed by Jean-Pierre Jeunet and Marc Caro, this French fantasy film stars Ron Perlman and Judith Vitae. The story is set in a dark and surreal world, where an evil scientist kidnaps children in order to steal their dreams. One of the kidnapped children teams up with a strong man named One to rescue her little brother. A thinly veiled allegory for the dangers of rampant capitalism, the City of Lost Children is more fondly remembered for its steampunk aesthetic and impressive costumes designed, apparently pro bono, by Jean-Paul Gaultier. The imaginative visuals, fantastical storyline, and moving performance by Ron Perlman all warrant a rewatch of this very cool film. Number 1. Desperado. Directed by Robert Rodriguez and starring Antonio Banderas and Salma Hayek, this action-packed movie is a pseudo-sequel to Rodriguez's debut film, El Mariachi. The story follows a musician who seeks revenge on the drug lord responsible for the killing of his girlfriend. Along the way, he teams up with a bookstore owner named Carolina. The film was made on a budget of only $7 million, but went on to gross over $25 million at the box office, essentially launching the careers of Banderas, Hayek, and Rodriguez. Steve Buscemi, Danny Trejo, and Quentin Tarantino also appear, with the ever-charismatic Joaquim del Alameda stealing scene after scene as the villainous Bucho. Desperado absolutely soars on the strength of its soundtrack, memorable characters, and iconic action sequences directed with panache by Rodriguez. And that's a wrap. Thanks for joining us. Which movie was your favorite? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to The Real for more great movie content. We'll see you next time.